That's what I do. I'm always somewhere.
Oh, live. Hello. Welcome to another Friday night Financial Friday. Listen, thank you again for tuning in. This is Financial Friday, where we are digging ourselves out of a hole so that we can climb higher.
Yes.
Where we are thriving, we're rising from our financial slumps, and we're thriving in our financial future. I'm your host, Dr. A. Burns, and we want to welcome back co-host, Dr. Brother Minister, hard-working Sergeant James Jones. How you
Hello, everyone, and good evening to all our grinders out there.
Now, does this sound like something going on with my sound?
Yeah. Your sound is going in and out. It's like
Going in and out.
double talk. Yeah, it's like double talk.
Well, said, let's go ahead and get started, and then I'm going to see if I can reset my computer. And so we've been talking about the whole idea of um, striving towards the six-figure mindset, getting ready for the six-figure challenge in January. And so we looked at several things so far. We looked at mindset. You have to know your mind, and we put some books in the chat link for you. Begin to renew your mind. Last week we talked about mentality, having the right mentality. We also talked about meditation. Focus in, quieting our mind, focus it in. And so tonight we want to talk about managing with wisdom. Managing with wisdom. And so we got some holidays coming up, and so we don't want you to overspend throughout the holidays. And so we're going to talk about getting ready for Thanksgiving, if I'm not already. So, Bro James, I'm going to have you to go ahead and get started. I'm going to come out, see if I can reset and see what's wrong audio. Then I'll come back in.
Okay, we'll do, Pastor. Thank you.
All right.
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is going to be nice. We always want to keep ourselves moving. We want to keep everything doing what we do. So, if you're reading the right books, you have the ability to enhance your ideology and your mind, your thought processes. If you read the wrong books, everything claps in. So you always want to make sure that you're reading the right books. One of the books in which we talked about was Damon Learn to Earn, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I believe Rich Dad Poor Dad is one of my favorites. And also Pathway to Possibilities for those who are on their way. Moving beyond that was last week. Meditation is really key to calming all the noise that goes on in between our minds, and also keeping us focused on what we have to do. On top of that, being able to meditate and have a good prayer life allows us to connect with the Holy Spirit and keep ourselves moving forward, and it allows us to move forward more successfully. So as the pastor is restarting his computer, let us get started. The first one I'll talk about is obviously Rise and Thrive. There we go. See if I can move it. There we go. Okay. Now, as you know, your host is Pastor Dr. Anthony D. Burns, and me, I'm Brother James. I'm going to just make sure that everything that we do is assigned, careful, and we're moving in the right direction to make sure that we have a life that is fulfilling and comfortable. Now, moving on to this Financial Fridays, remember, within 6 weeks, we're going to have 3 major events. One of them is going to be Thanksgiving. The second one is going to be Christmas, and the fourth one is New Year's. So to start off, the first one is Thanksgiving. As much as we love all the stuff that we do, we got to make sure that we're doing it correctly. And I'm really big on assigning money to do what we have called it to do. The more often we can assign things to do what we have called it to do, the more often things will be more within our purview, our preview, and more things that we'll be able to accomplish. Oh yeah, the other book, one of the other books. Somebody just chimed in. Thank you, Ella Perry. It is why do white guys have all the fun? That's another book that I do like, and that book is talks about the stock market and things of that nature. That's one of the books that will help everyone get started, no matter what adventure you may find yourself. So moving on past that, we have I just forgot. We were talking about Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a time that we all can come together. We all can celebrate one another, and we all can see how the family is doing. So in my family, we have about 3 to 4 Thanksgivings. So our Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and sometimes even Saturday is booked up with just the celebration of Thanksgiving. However, even though we're celebrating Thanksgiving in multiple areas with multiple different families going to different areas, we always want to make sure that we are doing it safely and we doing it assigned. One of the easiest ways to keep things moving is to assign things. So we'll go into the first one. um, One of the things that we can always do whenever it comes to any great event, even though we want to spend everything, we want to do it on a budget. And we're not saying that you gotta, or I have to, or anyone has to, but we're saying that the best way in order to assign your money is to do it on a budget. That means have a plan of attack, a plan in which what we will do is we will spend $8,000, or we'll spend $12,000, or we'll spend $2,000. And even if your budget is to spend $500, by assigning a budget to it, then you have the ability to put monetary funds or resources into that to equal up to whatever the budget that you have assigned. Mostly for Thanksgiving, I think I budget over 4 days of Thanksgiving. I think is about $500, and that's with the cakes, the cookies, the turkey, the stuffing, the driving around to many different houses just to have fun and celebrate Thanksgiving with many, 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 many people. So I think our budget is around $500. But for you, it could be whatever you want it to be. More often than not, when you don't assign a dollar amount to what you plan on spending, you often overspend or you're more reluctant to spend because of the fact you're unsure of how much everything will cost. But by assigning a budget or having a planned budget, you're more than likely to stay within your range. And that means you may splurge a little bit, but you'll be within your range. You may overspend, but you'll still be relatively within your range because you may plan for a pie to cost $25 and it may cost $28. So even though you're $3 over, you're still within your range because by planning ahead of time, you're more often than not to achieve what you would like to achieve. There we go. And I think planning is one of the biggest things that we can always do. Uh, I always like planning. Planning is something which I do a lot because everything is assigned. So I only have 24 hours in a day. So I like to assign everything in that in that statement. So along with planning a budget, next comes something that is a family favorite in which a lot of people do, and it gives us the ability to do it more often. It is creating or doing your own decorations. Oftentimes when my kids are doing a lot of things, the easiest things for them to do is to do their own decorations. And then I do my decorations and the missus do her decorations. And by doing this, we cultivate a lot more things. One, by being a family together, we now cultivate more communication, more conversation, and more social. Also, by doing our own decorations, we are reducing the amount of money in which we spend because by building your own decorations and then putting up your own decorations, you have a wonderful time of trying to just be with your family. And that is something in which is priceless when you get older, but as a kid, they may not be as precious as they may be sometimes. so so moving on. Um, the easiest way to stay on a budget is to do your own decorations. And the reason why you want to do your own decorations is because it does reduce the cost of many things you're doing. But the family effect of doing your own decorations is something in which we all can aspire to. A family that's working together just to do decorations have the better ability to talk to one another. We can socialize. We can still teach as parents. We can learn as parents. We can Our children has the opportunity to teach us all the nice and tricks and all the tricks that they learn how to do with scissors or taping. Also, they can learn from us, like some of our traditions and things of that nature. So by doing your own decorations, you have a social aspect that happens all within inside the house. And if you have your nieces or your nephews or someone come by, or your grandma or your grandparents, it just adds to the flavor that is family. So it adds to what it means to have a good Thanksgiving. And I do like that because it's the small things that if we do it over time, it becomes the way we do things. By building these traditions of doing things as a family and talking as a family and socializing as a family, by doing these small things, as our children gets older and they grow up, they will understand, or they will remember, that it's the small decisions that was made. So when they have a family of their own, they will always do the same tradition, or more than likely do the same tradition that we do, and that is bringing the family together, talking one to another, and creating a better social environment for everybody. Number three, I always like naming everything or numbering many things. So number three is buying all your food early. Now I'm really big on buying early because it's part of the planning part of it. By buying your food early, you can oftentimes get things at a lower price. And I say that because Thanksgiving is this Thursday. But if you went into Walmart or Pick and Save on Thursday thinking to get a turkey, you may be out of luck. Also, by buying things early, you do have the ability to change up your proteins. So instead of having turkey, which is roasted, you can have turkey that is deep fried. And I do like deep fried turkey. Instead of having turkey, you can have, I think it's duck, I think it's quail, you can have moose. You can have almost any type of fowl or animal, and you can have that to be your main platter. And you don't have to just deal with turkey, because if you buy it early enough, you have a lot more options in order to get anything that you're looking for and get it done. One of the benefits of buying early is that now you have the ability to save on or make up for most of the money discrepancies in what you have. Because by buying it early, you can go to Sam's Club or Kroger's. Even, I think his name is Menards, not Menards, Myers. There you go. You can go to Myers and then you can get it from there as well by buying it early enough. Let us move on. So, so to keep everything moving forward, that is so much fun. Is one of the biggest things that is more attached to things that we do in this day and age is going digital. Now, I'm not saying eat digital food, but I am saying that sometimes we may have to do a Zoom call or Google Meets or a phone or a FaceTime. And that is, if you can't bring everybody together physically, you want to make sure you can bring everybody together digitally. And that means if grandma is shut in due to the snow that just came, or there's a lot more snow that's bound to happen, what you want to do, you want to make sure that everyone's all included. So, with the many families that we have coming in town, and I think we are leaving out of town, I just forgot what day. With all that stuff happening, we always want to make sure we're always inclusive. That means we're bringing everybody together. By doing that, some people may be included digitally. And by including everyone digitally, including everyone, and I do mean everyone digitally, everyone has an ability to participate, to join in, and to also build in some of the social implications that a family does. Because because we love each other, so that's why we do everything. So that's the best way to say it is the best way to say it is that by going digital, we can include more family members and we can show the love of Christ because that's what we're here for. As much as we like Thanksgiving and it is a time of celebration, we want to make sure we're celebrating it correctly. So if we can't meet somebody and they can't see us, we want to make sure that digitally we can be there and they can be here with us. So however they can get there, let them get there. And however we can show love, let's show love. Because even though we're doing things digitally to get more people, we want to make sure that those people who are digitally and those who are physically are all on the same page. uh, that's the best way to say that. Now, moving on past doing everything digitally, we now got entertaining on a budget. When I say entertaining on a budget, this is like a fan favorite. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. This can get real rowdy, but that's what it is when you're a family. Sometimes things get rowdy. So when I say we play spades, and it could get real rowdy. We can play dominoes, and it could get real rowdy. We can also play 21, and it can get rowdy. We can play sorry, and it can get rowdy. I probably would avoid Monopoly, but if your family likes Monopoly, I say play Monopoly, sorry, board games, trivia games, all of these things. I think we did Pictionary one year, and it got real crazy because we had the imagination, the invisible ink. So you write it inside some on some wall, and it's really imaginary. So it was really fun. What I'm trying to say is, as you celebrate, as you celebrate Thanksgiving, you don't have to go out there. You don't have to spend a big amount of money. The main goal of Thanksgiving is always about family. So since it's about family, even entertainment should be about family. Board games is one of the ways in which we can communicate to each other. We can get on teams, we can have fun, we can argue and fuss and fight, and it all be for fun. Now, I'm not talking about those people who are trying to fight. I'm talking about actually wholesome fun where somebody wins, somebody loses, but at the end, we're all having fun. Sorry is a game like that. So is dominoes, so is spades, so is bid whiz, so is speed, Uno, phase 10. These are all games that has multiple participants in it. And by doing it successfully, you can entertain on a budget, but you can include everybody into the game because that's what Thanksgiving is all about, the inclusion of everybody. And even if you're playing online, you could play chess online, which I think my family is notorious for having a chess tournament at any point in time whenever the family is together because we have so many good competent chess players that it's always, and I do mean always, a good feeling to have a lot of people out there playing chess. So my family does chess as a board game. So if somebody's in the chat right now, you tell me what games you like playing for Thanksgiving, and make them be, and if they are family friendly games that allow everything to be done. um, Moving on past that, why the chats are still getting there. Entertaining on a budget is something in which we all have fun doing. Like you can do photo booths on. I got a little cheat sheet on all the fun little things that we can do. So as a family, you can do the family photo booth. where you just take what's those things called? Selfies of each other. And everybody can do their own selfie, and then selfies are good to go. Or you could do the smart app, the trivia games. Trivia is really fun. It's sometimes kind of hectic, but it can get fun. Like a game called Heads Up is a really fun game that allows a lot of people to be involved. I think it's one game called Family Feud, which is a humongous, hilarious game because we got a decent size TV, and we got a really, really big family. So whenever we break loose Family Feud, it is hilarious, and we have the ability to move a lot of stuff. The next one is the byproduct of going digital, entertaining on a budget, and doing your own decorations, is that everyone has the ability to pitch in. Now we want to make sure that everybody has the ability to pitch in, because by doing that, I think I got the giggles. I can only imagine all of the good times that we have when everybody pitches in. Due to everybody pitching in, I think everybody has fun, except for the person who loses a lot. Then that person gets a little mad. But we still love that person anyway. That person should remain nameless. But but we do have a good time just being with each other. Everyone pitching in gives everyone the ability to love on each other, to say hi to one another, and to come together as a family. um, um, so if you're in the chat right now, tell us one thing that you can think of for Thanksgiving. Let me just see if who we got in the chat. There we go.
Why do men work so hard
to? So if you're in the chat right now, okay. So we're gonna say welcome to all the grinders. I think I see Elder Perry. Are you? Yeah, Elder Perry's in the chat. This is so good. Okay, moving on. There you go. So with that being said, there we go. I think one of the biggest benefits of always being in the moment is that even when things are always going good or bad, you can always be in the moment. So here at Rise and Thrive, even while things are happening, we're always moving forward. So let's just go back into it. Thanksgiving is a time of celebration because God has allowed us to see another year to celebrate each other. So we want to make sure that we're doing the right things when we celebrate each other. And one of those things that allow us to do that is by it allows us to celebrate each other because Thanksgiving is a really big thing. And I think Thanksgiving is a wonderful moment for us to get together. And even though we have a lot of things out there, so here at Rise and Thrive, we have the 90-day challenge coming up to improve what you have going on. So you want to make sure that what you're doing is always improving yourself. And even though Thanksgiving is a time that we can come together and celebrate, I'll be remiss if I told you to splurge on everything. Because even though Thanksgiving is a time, we don't want to splurge. We want to make sure that we are putting ourselves in the right mindset. That even though we're having fun, we're not going crazy. We want to be in the right mindset that even though we are with our family, we're not trying to overspend. We're not trying to keep up with one another. We're safe and we are sound in our own skin. One of the biggest things in which we have is we have ourselves. And your family knows who you are for who you are. Not who you are as a kid, but who you are now. Is that Pastor? Yes.
Back. Do it
Yes, yes.
sound any better?
Yes, you sound way better.
Do I?
Yes,
Man,
yes.
I tell you what, boy, I had to restart, and when I restarted, it wanted to update everything. I had to sit through all these updates and all of that to get here. I was like, oh my goodness. So I just come on my phone. Well, listen, we're talking about managing with wisdom. And so, Brother James, I was watching you on my phone, and so, um, you said that uh, don't play Monopoly. Why you say don't play Monopoly?
Monopoly is a lifelong game. So
Oh,
you start Monopoly, you're gonna have to start real early because that's like a lifelong game.
oh, so you mean um, Thanksgiving you'll be playing to Christmas?
Yeah. Because nobody wants to give up in Monopoly. And when the Monopoly, people are like, I haven't heard anybody say, I'll just give up all my properties. I haven't heard
Okay,
that yet in Monopoly.
all right, all right.
Monopoly can get vicious sometimes. The only games I know that's more vicious than Monopoly is dominoes.
Mm-hmm.
I seen spades. Spades can get pretty vicious if you got the bad part. If you got a bad partner,
All right.
and bed whiz, they just kick you off the team and don't let you come back. That's what
Okay. Well, let's pull some of these things together. Now, I I see that in the chat it looked like Elder is saying, "Why do white men have all the fun?" That was a book that we read,
yes.
you know. So I don't know if he has a question or is he's just putting that in the chat. Why do white men have all the fun?
Yeah, that was one of the books that I was talking about. It's one of the staple books that I think as you read it, it changes your mindset.
And so I don't know if he was putting that in there as a response to something that you said, or if he was asking about that. So let's pull some of these things together um, and see. I don't know if this will let me drop in. Did I ever try that? Let me just see if I can drop a picture in here. And so okay, let's see if it's gonna let me drop it.
There you go. Okay, yeah, he put that in because I forgot one. Out of the four books, I think I forgot that one, and so that's why Elder Perry put that in there.
Okay, all right, okay, all right. Is the Oh, I got you. Okay, so in January we're talking about starting the six-figure challenge, and we're looking to um, have the book ready by January, and we're looking at different things now to get a person geared up for that. We already talked about through many of our financial Fridays, small steps, and that's so important that we understand that each one of these areas in our lives make a difference when it comes to having the right mindset and mentality to walk in six figures.
Yeah,
And so when it comes to saving money, because we're talking about planning, when it comes to Thanksgiving, even though we're a little late because most people have done their shopping already, but some still may be shopping, being able to understand how important it is that every dollar we spend matters. We talked about money having an assignment, and many times people will be surprised how fast money actually grows. On Wednesday night, we were talking about some things as far as hearing from God and in the area of finances. And one of the persons in the class was talking about how they had set up this savings account or this other account, and they had money going into this account, and they didn't realize it. They had forgot about it. You know, it was going in there, and they wanted to pay off some debt. So for some reason that came up, and they looked over there, and there was a nice amount of money over there that helped them to pay off some debt. And so the point I'm making is money can add up real quickly, but you have to be disciplined, when it comes to leaving that money over there. You know what I mean? And so James said start small. I think you could start a little bigger than small, but he probably has more uh, results than I have at this point. And so let's talk a little bit about why, watching how you spend your money for Thanksgiving, shopping early, and all of these kind of things. Why is that so important when it comes to having a six-figure mindset?
Whew, okay. Whew, I'm glad you're back. This feels a whole lot better. So shopping early and shopping early is always a benefit because it gives you a lot more options.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a rush to buy something or you're crunched for time, you often don't give yourself the advantage of getting the best price for what for or getting the best item for what your money can pay for. When you start most of the time your Christmas gifts, Thanksgiving, or New Year's celebrations, by starting further back, you now give yourself you can haggle prices. You can come back in and say, "Hey, I can find something better." You
Mm-hmm.
can do price notifications. Price notifications yeah. Price notifications is where you set up a tracker. So once it leaves or it gets low enough, then you'll just buy it automatically, or you'll set yourself up to buy it automatically, which you can't do if you're in a rush. So if I don't buy a turkey and it's Wednesday, if it's Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday evening and I'm trying to buy a turkey, when I get there, I'm not haggling on how big or small the turkey is. I'm just trying to get enough to feed the
Mm-hmm.
portion of people that I'm trying to feed. Versus when I buy it 2 months from now, or I'm thinking about buying one. I already searched out and I went to the free turkey giveaways. So I went to the free turkey giveaway and I already got a turkey there. And now I'm just buying something to supplement that turkey. These are things that you can do had you planned early.
Okay, and so that mindset, that thought pattern, is what we zooming in on. That thought pattern of planning and starting earlier and being able to get the better deals and the better price. And it's not just for Thanksgiving. We're talking about a lifestyle, right?
Yes.
Of being able to look down the road as to what it is that uh, you're looking to buy or need, and then being able to do that in a timely manner. We had our snowplow at the church in the shop, and they said that there was something major wrong with it, and they said they was offering us an opportunity to buy another snowplow. And so when the minister came to me and told me what they said, I said, no, we don't want to buy a snowplow during snow season,
Yeah.
because then you're going to be paying more. Let's wait till the summer, you know, and so we can use the plow to get through this winter, but let's wait till the summer before we buy a plow, And so I'm saying when you're looking to purchase even big things, or if it is a turkey, that the mindset that we have to start developing is a mindset of savings,
Yeah.
and that savings needs to be kicked over into some type of account. What did you used to call the account that you park the money in?
No, it was just a savings account, which is a temporary purpose.
Okay.
After a savings account, you go towards a money market
Mhm.
account. So that'll be the next level.
Yeah, yeah. And so talk a little bit about why that's important to have that type of mindset when you're shopping for furniture, when you're doing any day-to-day thing, how important it is to make sure that you're getting the most for your money. You know what they call it, the bang for the buck.
Yeah, the biggest bang for the buck.
Yeah. Why is
And
that important?
because oftentimes we often look for things that we really want. And an impulsive person will always spend more than a calm person. It's just gonna happen.
Mhm.
Because a calm person isn't looking isn't looking to buy right now today. They're looking to get the most information. So why would you buy a gas generator versus a an electric generator? If you're in a rush, you're just listening to whatever the salesman tells you and you're looking at a couple brochures. When you have time and you put that aside saying, I'm going to buy a generator in the spring, so I'm shopping for one in the fall. By giving yourself enough leeway, now you have a better opportunity to look at what works for you, what works for your budget, what works for your household, and those are the things that can aid you in the future, because not all generators work good for all houses.
Mhm.
The same is true with snow blowers. The same is true with lawnmowers, because gas versus electric, each one has a pros and cons, but the pros and cons could be better suited for certain individuals or certain lifestyles, certain landscapes. When you was to take that just to buying food, right? It's the same thing, because Pick and Save may have a sale on corned beef, and then Myers may have a sale on turkeys. But if you know that you shop at Myers and you know you shop at Pick and Save, you can develop a route to pick up all these things that will save you money in the long run versus just going to a place and saying, "Well, I'm here at Walmart. Mom's just buy everything here,"
Mhm.
and you're actually spending more money because you assume that you're going to save money on gas.
Okay. All right. Now, when we talk about walking in, in six figures, and we start the challenge in January, and what is the estimated time if a person is truly serious? And I know it's got a lot of variables in there. I know
Yeah.
it's got a lot of variables in there, you know. Uh, but in general, what is um, the length of time that a person could put in to reach a six figure, um, um, you know, bank account or
Yeah. So it all depends on how much trust that person has within themselves and within the process.
Okay, let's talk about the trust within themselves. What does that mean?
If you truly want to do it,
Mhm.
and
Now,
I and
what,
I'm and I'm not saying true as in the fact of I I'm emotionally strapped to it. Trust is something that happens with action, not necessarily something that happens with emotion. So some people can really be really emotional about doing this, but when the time comes that they need to actually deposit money into an account, that's when the trust actually takes place. So when I say someone got to truly trust themselves, that means they got to start putting money away and actually leave it. And by leaving it, I mean we're not touching it for nothing. It's actually going to grow. It's actually going to start maturing. It's actually going to be start making more income for themselves. And that's when things start moving around a lot faster.
and so when you talk about trusting yourself, you're talking about trusting yourself to leave that money in there,
Correct.
and trusting on yourself. A lot of times when people put money to the side, they can't get it off their mind, and that money becomes a source for them. So then, if they got a bill coming up, right away they'll look to that source,
Yeah.
versus if they didn't have that source and that same bill came up, they would look for another way um, to take care of that. And in most cases, they would. So, what is it about the whole idea of, you know, putting money to the side and having a need for money, but not touch that money?
Yeah. And that's what goes with assigning money. So if you know that you have $300 that you frivolously spend,
Mm-hmm.
I say put away 150, because that way you'll still have $50 that you can frivolously spend. That means you can spend it on whatever you spend it on, because you have no direction for the money. but you want to push yourself to put that money aside and then keep it aside. So then once it hits enough, you can actually put it inside an actual tangible investment product. When I say product, I don't necessarily means bond. I mean, you want to put it inside the stocks that are doing more high yield, or you want to put it inside of a company that will produce income for you. Those are the only two ways that you will produce a fast enough income to relatively do six figures or close to six figures or be striving towards six figures by the end of the year.
Okay, and
So,
so being able to make sure that your money is working to make money and not just sitting in a jar or up under your mattress.
yes.
And so your money is making money at whatever level it is, and you still making money the way you got that money, and then putting that money aside, and then you said keeping that $50. That's your sanity money, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. There you go.
keep
There you go.
keeping that sanity money, so you don't go stir crazy, and being able to trust yourself that you're doing it. I see Mr. Simone put it in comment, saving with action and not emotion, you know.
Yeah.
And so making sure that you're purpose, that you use the word assignment, so that you know that you're working towards something, and that's where the process come in at. So when we talk about the process, what do you mean about the process?
The process is part of trusting in yourself
Mm-hmm.
because now, in order to do the process, you got to trust in more than yourself. You got to trust in the person that's telling you to do the process. So when you're praying and the Holy Spirit tells you to go outside and meet somebody, you have to trust that that's the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to trust that what they're telling you is the truth. When it comes to making or putting yourself in a six-figure mindset, you have to trust that Pastor Burns and Brother James, that's me. Hey, how you doing? Is telling you the right thing. And then you have to trust that we're on that same path that you're on. By trusting, because everything deals with trust, because no one knows until they do it. You don't know that you will make six figures until you made six figures.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're good. Because once you made six figures, now you know the process works.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you don't know that the process works. We have an inkling. I can give you a witness and say the process works, but that doesn't mean you know. It just means that you have to trust that the process works.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, the process works. so,
Right. Now,
so
there's a term I used to see a lot, and I never tried it, and I wish I would have, about compound interest, where
yes.
you could take a amount of money and compound it, and that money quadruples to, you know, depending on what that amount is. Even if it's a penny, it would, quadruple or whatever it is. When we talk about compounding, um, tell us a little bit about what that means.
Oh,
You heard that term before?
yeah, but that's what your money is doing
Mm-hmm.
every time you put it away. So if you do a money market, your money is saving about 5% a year. So if you get your money together and you put $500 inside an account, when a month goes past, just a month, you're going to get about 4.98%. 5% is APR. They always deal in APR. Excuse me. So they always tell you what the APR is. So the per month is probably going to be around 4.9, which is close to 5, but not quite 5.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take $5 or if you take $500, 5% of that $500 is going to be roughly $2.50,
Mm-hmm.
if my math is correct. The very next month, now you're putting another $500 into there. So now you got $1,000 and $1,002.50. But you're multiplying that by 5%. So now that $2.50,
Mm-hmm.
even though it looks small, now that's compounded. Now that's $5. That's compounded into $2. So now you have $3 holding on. Now you're at 1,000 $1,005, $1,005.50. So it seems small because no one really cares about that $5. But remember, that's only 2 months. If you was to take that over 3 months, you're not going to be at $60. You're going to be at the $500 you put in there, which is going to be $600. But that small amount of interest is going to build around $72. So now you got $72 building.
Mm-hmm.
So that's compound interest. Compound interest is using the money you put in plus the interest. And then the very next month, you're using the money you put in plus that balance. Then you're adding interest to that. So every month you're adding an interest.
Okay.
So if you were to do a piggy bank, you put $5 in a.
I think you froze up on me. Now, the reason I bring that up is because of the importance of understanding that a little can equal a lot. And don't, my friend, Apostle Linnell D. Caldwell, says a lot of times, one of his sayings is, never underestimate the power of a seed. Never underestimate the power of a seed. And so I'm trying to show you that you can start small and still reach your goal. And even though 6 figures may seem big to you, you can start small and learn the process and allow the process to help you to grow your money. So there he is. He back.
Yes.
Okay. Now I see Minister Mars said big money, big money. Yeah, I believe compound interest, allowing your money to work while you steady adding to it, will equal big money, big money. And Deacon Boone was saying 500 at 5% is $25. All right.
Thanks. Yeah.
How you doing, Minister Rodney? You still in Mississippi? If so, I pray that everything working out and you all have safe travel back. When you come back, we got some snow for you.
Yeah, I ran into that this morning.
All right. So making it possible. The Bible said all things are possible to him that believe. And so being able to believe, and James used the term trusting in yourself. And now we're talking a little bit about trusting the process. Let's kind of pick up a little more on that process you was explaining to us as far as compounding your interest plus that balance, and how that continues to grow.
Okay. Now remember, I do want to say thanks, Brother Tim, for doing the math for me. But if you're compounding at $25, if you take $500 and you're compounding at $25 every single month, eventually that $25 over 4 months is going to be about an additional $100. But it's not just $100. It's going to be like $105 to $106 because that $25 over the next month is now $55.
Mm-hmm.
And then over the next month, it's not $55. It's more along the lines of $80 because that money is tripling up and then it's doubling up. So that's compound interest. When you put that into a 6-figure mindset, you're talking about I forgot the rule is. It's called the rule of 72. How fast do your money double?
Mm-hmm.
I had to think about that first. I'm like, I know it's a rule. It's
Yeah.
a rule that tells everybody how much they're gonna get back, and it's called the rule of 72. It's how fast do your money double?
Okay.
So if you was to aggressively put in a large sum of money, and you was to put inside a good interest rate, I think a good interest rate for the stock market during the holidays is kind of rough, but during regular working regular working days, 10% is probably a good look. I don't normally go with the liberal approach. I mostly go with the more conservative approach to stock markets, which is more of a lower end. But if you find a good stock that's running in about 10%, you can make a lot of money that way. That means in 72 iterations, you are already double the money you put in.
Okay.
If you was to go with real estate, which I like real estate. Real estate is really easy. I shouldn't say real estate is easy. Real estate is something in which I believe in. So I'm willing to do what it takes in order to make it work. Real estate, you typically can double your money within 3 years. If you want to be aggressive about it, you could do it in a year. It all depends on how much money you put in, plus the deals you make in order to pull it out. And I do express that it's the deal that you make, and that's how you get all your money back in real estate. Or you turn it over to tenants. So if you let tenants move in, and then you'll make your money back in about 5 years.
Okay. All right.
But you have the property and you have tenants. So it's how do you there's more than one ways to peel an onion. To cut an onion. So it's one of those type of avenues. If you do bonds or mutual funds, the bonds especially, bonds don't carry a lot of interest rate. They don't carry a high interest rate. So you just have to wait over time in order for that to come to pass. Gold and silver are typically intertwined with each other. Silver is a lot easier to purchase than gold, but they both are around the same curve. So the same curvature of how much each one is increasing is about the same. So both of those do have the ability to make you money.
Okay.
The newest one that's out is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, Dogecoin, they're digital currencies. So they hit the market as though they are trying to take over as currency, but they're not. They're just investment tools. So if you understand how to work those as well, you can make money using those systems.
Okay. Now I did find a good article on the rule of 72, and our producer is going to put that in the chat. And that's a good. It's got some good information. It's got several explanations. It's got a video in there. It talks about the difference between, and it's got quite a bit of information on there. Tell us how important it's going to be when it comes to trusting yourself and trusting the process. Let me also say, Minister Marr said, normal people use their time to make money. Wealthy people use their money to keep their time.
Oh, that was so funny. Hey, tell Mar if he knew the conversation we had this morning. So I was talking to Elder Perry about that. I was telling him how let me try to say this correctly. Now, Elder Perry, he on the line. Elder Perry probably can help me out. But we was talking about it, and I said, you'll be amazed how cheap people wait, how being cheap wastes more time than what you want. And I was equating that to when I get back home, because I travel a lot, I got to do my oil change. But when I say I got to do it, that means I'm going to make an appointment. I'm going to take my car down, and somebody's going to change my oil for me. If I was to be cheap, right, or say I'm going to save myself some money, but now I got to take a half a day out, to buy all the equipment. I'm going to buy the oil filter. I'm not skilled on this, so I'm gonna remove the oil filter. I'm gonna drain the oil. I'm gonna put all the oil back in it. I'm gonna do an engine clean if I have to, and I'm doing all that myself. That's gonna take about $100 to $200. I make $100 an hour, so why would I put myself through that and lose money overall when I could just work and make more money in something in which I'm good at? If I'm more efficient at logistical management, then why don't I work harder at logistical management to give myself the time so I can just pay for the oil change?
Yeah.
And the biggest thing about the oil change that I was telling them is that when I go get the oil change, if it takes anything longer than 20 minutes, I can take a shuttle back home and still work. I can take a shuttle back to the office and I can keep working. And when the car's done, I'm going to take a shuttle for lunch, go there, pick the car up, and just keep going. Like my day doesn't stop because I had an oil change or I had to get my tires done. The name of the game is to make sure that you're doing enough that you can do those things.
And so that's what he mean by normal people use their time to make money, and wealthy people use their money to keep their time. So at $100 an hour, for you to spend a half a day to service your car, you're spending, let's say, $800, plus the oil, which you say $200. So you giving up $1,000
just for oil change.
for oil change. You know what I mean?
That's not done by professional either. It's an oil not done by a professional oil change.
Mm-hmm. And so that's huge. That's huge. Now, I want us to help people get ready with this whole mindset. You got to watch what you're spending, and you have to, if you haven't taken notes, you have to go back to some of our earlier Financial Fridays where we talk about that budget. That budget is so key, in knowing what's coming in and knowing what's going out, so that you can know, you know, what's your numbers, so you can know how much money you can put aside, so you can know how much money that you're spending that you don't have to spend. Looking at a budget, you can determine what areas you can do better at in saving. And so really beginning to, you have to drive these things. It's not just going to happen out of the sky. As James already said, you have to separate the action from the emotion, and when we talk about action, it's an everyday thing. It's a lifestyle. It's not just I'm going to do this and then I'm going to pop back to business as usual. I see people do that. They sow seed for like a new car or something, and they pass it, I need a confession or something, and then they'll go and then they'll finally get that new car, and then I won't see them no more, and then all of a sudden trouble start happening again. Then now they pop back up, and then, you know what I mean, and they don't realize that it has to become a lifestyle. You have to become a lifestyle. You don't save for the car, and then once you get the car, you stop saving. It has to become a lifestyle. And if you do that, you would never be broke another day in your life. Hey!
But the same is true when you say people saying, I want to buy a house. Cool. Cool. You want to buy a house? I think that's the greatest thing ever. Go ahead, go buy a house. And then they're being told what to do and how to do it. And they're listening. When the people say, hey, we gotta get your credit right, they're listening. Hey, we gotta get this much, you gotta have this much money inside your account. They're listening and they're doing.
Mhm.
Then they get the house. They get the house, and you like, congratulations. Are you still saving? No, I'm good. Well, the house got maintenance.
Right.
That water bill you gotta do. Like you gotta pay that water bill. That's all on you. That's not the landlord. If your furnace go out, you need to have some money in savings to take care of the bills.
Mhm.
And then they act like it's gonna automatically happen. I'm like, no. What you did to get the house, you got to do to keep the house.
Right.
You may not have to use all the money immediately, but you do need to have money set aside for incidents that may happen.
Yeah. And so that's what we're saying. It has to become a lifestyle, not to the degree that you become cheap, and most of the things that I read in preparing for this book, um, How to Make Six Figures, um, generosity kept coming up, generosity. And so, being able to follow a process without becoming stingy or cheap, you know what I mean? And you can't be generous if you don't have it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I think we had 2 minutes. Boy, time.
I thought you would go for it. I thought you would go for it.
Well, listen, I pray that this has been a blessing to you. And we're getting you ready. We're getting you ready for our six-figure challenge. We want to see you walk in financial freedom in 2025. And we want to see you detach yourself from emotions and connect with action. And let's get it done. Listen, we got about 30 seconds left. What you got to say, James?
God bless, and I'll see you out there.
All right, listen, tune in again next week for Financial Friday. Have an awesome, wonderful Thanksgiving, and I pray that you'll follow those tips so that you can manage with wisdom. God bless you, and thank you for tuning in. We're out of here.